Hey everybody, welcome to Mondays with Maybay. I am Jeannie May, and I just want to thank you so much for being here this week and for tuning in. And normally we do this on Monday, hence the name Mondays with Maybay. But today we're going to call it Mondays with Maybay, a day delayed. Because, delayed a day. Mondays with Maybay, delayed a day. That sounds better. Because, today's sermon is about unexpected changes and circumstances, and this little guy was an unexpected change and circumstance. See, what happened was I've been wanting a puppy. I've been craving love, unconditional love, and a puppy. And yesterday we met the Recovery Angels, which is a group of people that go to like disaster reliefs, and they get the animals from them, and then they find them new homes. Many of these animals were either abandoned because of the disaster or their owners didn't make it through the disaster. And Perseus here was one of those relief dogs. So my son fell in love with him, and so of course we had to get him, because look at that face. How could you say no to him? He's like the sweetest, cutest little thing in the world. But, so today's sermon is all about unexpected change and how to navigate that unexpected change. See, a lot of the time we try to plan out our life and we try to structure things out, but that's not how it works. I had to learn the hard way. That's not how it works. God has His own plan for your life, and no matter how hard you plan for it, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you think you have everything put together for it, things are going to change. Things can always change because nothing's a constant in your life except for God. What I mean by this is when we go about our life, when we go about our day, most of us have a plan ahead of us. Most of us have structure in our day. Most of us have an idea of what we're going to do day to day. We have a goal in mind. We have a vision for our life, for our future. But see, that's not always what God has planned for your life. I thought a long time ago that I would go into the medical field. So I went to college. I got a bachelor's in health administration. I was working at the hospital, and it wasn't fulfilling me. I did not feel fulfilled. I did not feel happy. I felt like I was helping people, which I know is my purpose in life, but I wasn't happy. And so I was struggling for a long time, and I finally left. And then when I left, I went into construction, and then I became a project manager, and then I was working with structural engineers, helping them coordinate, make sure like all of their houses, all of their buildings were up to spec and up to regulation, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But again, I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was doing God's work. Still, I was modeling on the side. Still, I was doing a lot of charitable things, but I did not feel fulfilled. And so I left. I didn't have an answer. I didn't have a reason. My boss was like, we could pay you more. And I was like, it's not the money. I make good money. I'm not fulfilled, so I need to leave. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I don't get it either, but I just know I gotta leave. Okay, so I'm gonna leave. Like I had no idea why. I just knew I didn't belong there. And then I started my own business, and I started Maybay, and I've been able to impact and change so many people's lives because of that. See, the reason I told you all this isn't to boast or to, pat myself on the back. The reason I told you all this is so that you understand it's okay. It is absolutely okay when things don't go according to plan. Actually, it normally ends up being better than okay. It normally ends up being beautiful. See, when you are willing to let God change your life, when you are willing to change your direction on a whim because in your heart it doesn't feel right, in your heart you know you don't belong there, when you are willing to let God work through you, beautiful things happen. But when you fight it, and when you're like, nope, this is my plan, this is what I'm going to do, and you hit dumpster fire after dumpster fire after dumpster fire, and nothing is going right, and you're just like, gosh, my life is so miserable. What is going on? Like, I thought once I got this job, once I got this career, once I got this house, once I got this person, my life would be perfect. That's not always the case, is it? Right? Many of us have worked hard to achieve that career we want, and you get it, and you're still feeling empty. Many of us have found a person that makes us happy, and we jump into the relationship even though sin was at the forefront. It wasn't God. Many of us have jumped into a house or a new car because we think that that big, shiny, new feeling is going to fix everything, because we have the opportunity to go buy our dream car, and you buy it and you think it's everything you need. When in reality, you needed to stay in that old Toyota Camry so that you could put your focus on God, and so that you could put those resources towards God. Me, I have been that person that has chased shiny thing after shiny thing after shiny thing. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I get heartbroken so easily because I get so excited. And I know some of you are laughing because you're like, you wear your heart on your sleeve? What? People know I'm a little reserved. All right, I'm a little cautious, especially when it comes to relationships now, because I have been hurt so many times. People have abused me. People have broken my heart. People have broken my trust so many times. But I still have a loving heart. I have so much love to give, which is why I got a puppy, because I love puppies. But I have so much love to give. And sometimes those things that you chase, they're just a distraction. It is Satan working his way into your life to see if you're willing to chase your desires and your temptations, or if you're willing to hold out for God's unconditional love. And when you hold out for God's unconditional love, he's going to repay you times 10. It's going to be like the most glorious thing in the entire world, because he's going to give you what you give him. If you show him he's welcome, if you show him you want him in your life, if you show him you want a relationship with him, he's going to give you that times 10. See, once I opened my heart to God, and once I stopped fighting my desires and stopped fighting with him, and I stopped and I stopped and I stopped, and once I just let him lead, once I stopped pulling back, once I just let him lead, it was so much easier. Think about, I'm going to use a dog, for example, because I forgot about me, but think about like leash training, right? You put the puppy on a leash, and they fight it, and they fight it, and they fight it, and they pull back, and they fight it, and you're like, dude, this would be so much easier if you would just stop fighting. That's God. God is like, listen, if you would just stop, let me guide you, it'll be so much easier for you, I promise. But we still fight it, and we still fight it, and we still fight it, because we don't want to be controlled. It is against our nature to want to be controlled. So we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it. But then once you submit, once you realize that leash is going nowhere, once you realize you are in this for the long haul, once you realize you are not in control, and you give up, and you start following God's plan, and you start letting him lead you, it's going to be so much easier. I can say, once I stopped fighting, and I started letting him lead me, I have had blessing after blessing after blessing bestowed upon me. Not only in my career, not only with my son, not only in my family, not only in my home, but in other people's. God has worked through me in so many different ways to impact those around me. I have allowed him to work through me. I have allowed him to use my body as a vessel. I have allowed him to touch other people through me. People I would never even go up to and talk to normally. Things I would never do normally. But I had this feeling in my heart that I should go have that conversation with that person. And then they message me and they're like, you have no idea how much you saying hi to me meant to me, because I've been going through so much. Or when you're like having a conversation with someone and you're not interested in, is this going to be my next partner? Is this going to be this? How can I use them for my benefit, right? Because that's what we're all thinking. How does this person fit into my equation? No, when you're sitting there and you're just having a conversation with someone and it's genuine and pure, you're like, wow, that was incredible. And you just get this whole different feeling about it because you allowed God to work through you. I know a lot of us are control freaks, myself included, but it's okay not to be in control all of the time. It's actually beautiful. Once you finally relinquish that control to God and you stop trying to control every aspect and you realize you're not in control. You're just a piece in the game at this point. Once you finally realize that it's not all on your shoulders, life doesn't feel so heavy. It doesn't feel so scary. It's actually pretty incredible. And once you finally accept that you're not in control and let God actually be in control, things change, things move, but you're not fighting it as hard. See, I didn't know what path I was going to go through. Yes, I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a home. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have an established career by the age of 25. Now I'm almost 30. I have a home. I have my son. I'm not married. I don't have an established career, I wouldn't say, but it's constantly changing. And what I mean by that is, yes, I'm a model. Yes, I'm a model coach. Yes, I'm a public speaker. But I'm so much more than my title. What I am is making a difference. What I am is upholding God's value in other people. What I am is showing other people the worth that God put into them. And I love that. And it's not always the same. It doesn't look the same for everybody. It doesn't look the same every week. Sometimes he does that by using me to go interview drivers at a race. Sometimes he does that by using me through this podcast. Sometimes he does that by using me through conversations over coffee with old people that have reached, old friends that have, old people, old friends that have reached out to me. Sometimes he does that by putting it on my heart to volunteer. I've been volunteering at the Cancer Center, and it's just been so eye-opening. I was able to connect with so many people that are going through such a hard time. As many of you know, I'm a cancer survivor. I have a brain tumor in my frontal lobe, which I still have, but I've gone through the treatment twice, and it came back. Do you think that was in my plan? Do you think I wanted that? No, but guess what? Through that change, I was able to connect with so many people at the Cancer Treatment Center, and I was able to connect with their families, and I was able to talk about how it affected me and help them through it, help them read the paperwork, help them understand the diagnosis, help them understand what to eat and how to live, because it's not the same. It is not the same. Everyone knows once you have cancer, anyone that's seen anyone with cancer, their life is affected from then on out. Even if they get put in remission, they still have to watch certain things. They still have to be very mindful of their life from then on. And I was able to connect with so many people, so many families, because I have that in common. See, we don't all have the same walks, especially with God. All of our paths are different. But what I can say is we do all have a purpose. You may not know your purpose yet. You may have no idea what God is doing. But I want to encourage you, if you're presented with an opportunity, don't ask, how is this going to benefit my life? How is this going to fit into my plan for my life? Simply ask, how is God using this opportunity to impact others through me? And you will slowly start seeing things change, and you will slowly start seeing things click. Once I stopped putting my priorities and my desires first, and I started saying, how is God going to use me in this situation to impact others? It made me so much more aware of the bigger picture. It made me so much more aware of what's going on around me, and it made me blissfully, peacefully happy. I can truly say I'm at peace with my life. My stress is super minimal. God is in everything I do, and it shows. I am at peace, and I have the opportunity to help other people come to that same peace that I've had. And I've done that because of constant change in my life. I went through a whole season of change. I went through a whole season of trial and tribulation. I went through a whole season of anger and mad and pain and hurt. But through that season, I was getting closer to God every single time. Every trial, every tribulation, every single time I'd pull on the leash, it would get me closer a little bit more. And then I'd pull on the leash, and then I'd get closer a little bit more. So I want to urge you, if you're in that season of fighting the leash, if you're in that season of pulling back, if you're in that season of just misery and unhappiness, and you can't figure out what is going on, look at the bigger picture. Ask yourself, look at your life, look at your current circumstances, and say, is God working through me? Am I being selfish, or am I being selfless? Huge difference. And once you start letting God work through you, you will see blessing after blessing after blessing. And I promise you, you'll be so much happier, and you will come to that peace that you've been dying for. You're not going to find it in a partner. You're not going to find it in a career. You are not going to find it in a house or a new pickup, but you will find it in God. And so that's all I have for you. Unexpected changes are actually a blessing in disguise. Just like little man here. He's so cute. He hates me right now. He's sleeping. But Perseus is a huge blessing, and he was an unexpected change in our life, but he's a blessing nonetheless. So that's all I have for you today. I want to say thank you again for the continued support, for being here today, and for understanding, even though it's a day late, it's still just as impactful as it would have been yesterday. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Make it your mission to make someone's day better. Get out there, make an impact, and live a life worthy of God. Love you guys. Goodbye.